Hello and welcome to my channel. I apologize if my pronunciation isn't perfect, but I hope you enjoy my research. So today's research is named Transformation and Sacrifice, a study of Han Kang the vegetarian. So, in today's world of literature, not many books have received as much praise and attention as Han Kang the vegetarian. This novel was first published in Korean in 2007, then translated into English in 2015. The Vegetarian explores deep themes like personal freedom, social rules, and the challenges of being human. What makes The Vegetarian important is not just its storytelling and writing style, but also how it looks at the deeper ideas that drive the character's choice and behavior. Analyzing the book, readers can see how Han Kang skillfully shows the main character fight against what society expects, encouraging everyone to think about bigger issues like who we are. Han Kang is a South Korean author that has captivated readers around the world with their distinctive style and socially provocative themes. She was born in 1970 in Gwangju, South Korea, and grew up in a family of writers. Her father was also a famous novelist, and this shaped her love for literature and her choice to become a writer. Han Kang started her writing career in 1993 with her first novel, Red Anchor, that helped her gain recognition. Then, when her novel The Vegetarian was translated into English, it won the prestigious Man Booker International Prize, which made her even more famous internationally. Since then, she has continued to write novels that touch topics like human nature, identity, and trauma, very often inspired by her own life experience. In order to be better understanding the plot of The Vegetarian, it's necessary to understand the cultural context in which it was developed, since contextualizing Korean culture and the role of a modern woman is critical to understanding. In Young-hee life, it's usual to often eat meat, so much that her husband immediately noticed the absence. Meat is a big part of the diet, and giving it up completely, like she does, is not something that is typically done. It is seen as strange and even dangerous to most of her family relatives. This tension is reflected in the novel through the reactions of Young-hee family, which represent the society as a whole. The overreaction outlines the control that each family member tried to have not only over Young-hee persona, but even in her married life. This initial topic leads to the role of women in Korean society, which is the main topic as hot topic of a developed and modern country that is still rooted in an antiquated vision of women. In South Korea, women are often expected to conform to traditional gender roles and behave in a certain way. So, Young-hee's decision to become a vegetarian goes against this expectation and causes her to be seen as a rebellious and even mentally unstable, going against her husband and family, even against the role of her father that hit her. What comes out of the family discussion is not so much a desire to understand and help Young-hee, but to control her, except for her sister, who really tried to help her, even though she doesn't fully understand her reasons. These reflect the struggles that many women face in trying to break free from societal norms and expectations. The background of The Vegetarian helps us see the cultural rules and expectations in South Korea, along with the difficulties women encounter when they want to be independent. The Vegetarian shows the story of two sisters, Young-hye and Hin-hye, and the hard times they go through in their marriages. The book is divided into 3 sections, in which each highlighting the fight to survive in a world that pressures everyone to conform. Things start to shift when Young-hye stops eating meat by her choice, which creates conflict with her husband. As the plot goes deeper, readers discover deeper issues that the character face, such as Young-hye struggles with anorexia and In-hye attempts to understand her sister's decisions. With the help of different perspectives, the Vegetarian reveals the isolation and challenges faced by those who try to live up to society's standards. The way the novel is organized, with different stories, really show the emotional distance between the character and the struggles that they have in building real connections. In The Vegetarian, the main character, Young-hye, goes through a huge change, choosing to stop eating meat after having traumatizing dreams about how animals are treated. This decision is more than just about what she eats. It shows her wish to escape the expectation of society. In the novel, in addition to the protagonist's point of view, we have 3 other background characters who are the protagonists of the other characters. Young-hye's unusual choice to stop eating meat is a big change from her traditional lifestyle, which follows the norm of society. As the story goes on, her transformation goes beyond just her diet. Then she evolves first from being a vegetarian to someone who paints her body and eventually become more like a plant and even part of the forest. Her husband, brother-in-law and sister, the other protagonist of the chapters, also play important roles in the story, since they watch Young-hye's journey and what she is trying to find. The figure of Young-hye's husband is also very important for the plot. Mr. Chung, the average businessman, knows that Young-hye is struggling with her mental health, but he is determined to force her to fit in with what society expects, which means she can't be a vegetarian, and for him is as simple as that. To him, be a vegetarian, free to choose dietary restrictions, would be a terrible thing. To really get why Mr. Chung is against vegetarianism, we need to look at how society views meat and eating it. In the beginning of the novel, we see Mr. Chung trying to shape Young-hye's life as his wife. He can't help but be drawn to her almost bare body, which makes him feel a strong sexual attraction, turning her into someone special in his eyes overnight. Young-hye noticed that Mr. Chung does not try to understand the dreams that she is having, and this makes her feel even more isolated and frustrated, which is shown when the couple was about to have sex and she refused, saying that it has the smell of the meat. As Young-hye changes from just an ordinary wife to a more complicated person with opinions and different behaviors, Mr. Chung's feelings become a way for him to show his power, highlighting his role in the relationship. Young-hye is also heavily influenced by her sister and father, who both play important roles in the story and in her life. The relationship Young-hye has with her sister and father are complicated and filled with tension, which then leads to her mental decline. Young-hye's sister, In-hye, 4 years older than her, acts as a fool to Young-hye, representing what society expects from women. In-hye follows the traditional path of being a good daughter and wife, sticking to the norms of society. In contrast, Young-hye chooses to stop eating meat and embraces vegetarianism, which goes against it. In the novel, we can read that In-hye thought of abandoning her family and walked to the mountains without a comeback in a period of her life in which she isolated from people around her after a traumatic event in her life, which was the cheating of her husband. Meanwhile, Young-hye's father represents strict authority and control, described from being a Vietnam War veteran. He tries to dominate his daughters, making decisions for them. His lack of understanding and compassion for Young-hye's struggles only make her feel more alone, pushing her further down a dark path toward madness. It should also be highlighted that she was the only one who was beaten by him, which can explain the internalization of that kind of violence. Furthermore, aversion to meat is not a new concept in Young-hye's lives, since a dog once bit her and her father killed him, leaving the image of the flesh imprinted in her mind. Young-hye's choice to become a vegetarian sparks her own research for who she really is, which is a concept that every person experiences at some point. As she tries to figure out her identity in a society that wants to label her, Young-hye faces challenges in understanding herself and what she wants in life, which can be scary, especially if no one supports you. Mental health play a big role in the story too, since Young-hye's decision to stop eating meat comes from her own struggles and past experience. In this novel, Han Kang shows how mental health issues affect people and how society often looks down or ignores those who are dealing with them, and also highlighting how personal decisions can impact those around us. Eating is a major symbol that highlights themes like suffering, rebellion, and mostly what society expects from people. In fact, Young-hye stops eating meat not just because she wants to change her diet, but as a strong statement against the violence in her world. By refusing to eat in the usual way, Young-hye shakes up her family relationship and challenges social norms, showing how food is connected to power and identity. Additionally, the color white plays an important role in the story. White stands for both purity and separation, and it shows Young-hye's wish to rise above her physical life and bond with nature. Her change into a more mystic figure reflects her desire to break free from society's rules. This wish makes her family uncomfortable because they hold onto traditional beliefs. So white becomes more a complex symbol that represents freedom while also showing the fear of what's unfamiliar. Certainly, one thing that immediately stands out when reading her books is that Han Kang uses a lot of descriptive imagery, creating paintings with words that help readers understand what the characters are going through. For example, in this novel, we can feel the confusion and emotional problems of the protagonist of our own. Furthermore, Han Kang uses figurative language, such as metaphors, a lot, which helps to express feelings but also ideas more deeply. Furthermore, the way of writing is very thoughtful, full of intimate thoughts of the character in fundamental themes such as love, loss, trauma, and resilience.